What's up, everybody? Elevated Strength here. So I'm just going to be running through deadlifting fundamentals. First covering conventional, which is going to be mostly posterior chain driven, so a big focus on your lumbar, erectors, upper back, and then of course hamstrings and glutes, as opposed to sumo, which I'm going to be covering after this. So first things first is just going to be a stance suitable to your leverages. So none of that weird strongman shit unless you're 300 pounds or more. So naturally it's just going to be shoulder width, maybe a little tighter, maybe a little wider depending, but you are not going to be looking like Brian Shaw when doing conventional deadlifts. So here I'm just warming up with lightweight, a couple of reps. As you can see, my toes are pointed straight forward. You can point them out if you please, but it's not going to be exaggerated like sumo. So the second cue after finding your stance is going to be long arms to the bar and tight lats. So thinking about breaking the bar over your shins, and also not squatting down to the bar. You want your hips ideally high as possible when grabbing. So the third step I'm going to be covering is going to be bracing, tension, and slack out. So bracing your core, getting that big breath, filling out everywhere, getting that tension from the bar into the ground, and pulling the slack out. So just to reiterate that last point, I'm going to reach down, contact the bar with my long arms. I'm going to do a pits to pocket, lock my lats, get my shoulders back, really pull the slack out of the bar, get the tension into the ground, and then time that lockout. So the fourth cue or tip that I'm going to cover is hip anchoring and wedging. So it'll freeze frame right here. That's where the wedge is. So my hips are rising with my chest in order to lock it out. And I'm going to be timing that lockout of my knees, hips, and shoulders all at the top right there to just wrap it all together to finish the lift from top to bottom. Alright, switching gears from conventional deadlift to sumo run through. Pretty much the same cues, but different approach. Alright, so when we're talking sumo deadlift, it's going to be more quad driven. You are going to use your posterior chain to keep your posture, but it isn't going to stress your back nearly as much as conventional. So we're going to run through stance again, suitable to your leverages. So closer for frog stance is kind of between conventional and sumo, and then there's wider ones for very hip dominant mobile people. Okay, so next cue is toes out, more close to in line with your knee. So I got a drawing that I'll pop up later, but as you can see in this freeze frame, my knee is in line with my toes. That's just going to create the torque we need and the tension to get our hips into the bar during lockout and to keep our feet planted into the ground when we're pulling. So this is what I mean by this quick little drawing. It's in line, so there's no power loss. My hips aren't caving in, my knee isn't forward, and my feet aren't going in different directions, so everything's in line. So next up is just contact with the bar. Again, finding that sweet spot with our feet, and then contacting it with long arms and tight lats shown here. Everything is being timed correctly, and there's a lot of force into the ground and out, and then powering up. The fourth cue is going to be floor drive and hips into a glass wall. So we want the bar to move perfectly straight up in this plane. So I'm pretending to get my hips into this glass wall. The fifth and final cue is just going to be wrapping it all together, powering through your glutes and quads during lockout. So finding that upright torso position, powering through, and finishing the lift like so. Okay, so that is a wrap on fundamentals of deadlifting, whether it's conventional as well as sumo. A lot of people think, oh, I need to be better at one or the other, or one's much stronger. They complement each other. They're really good to do. And I hope you guys learned something. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. Maybe you're just deadlifting for the first time, or just refining your cues, getting different angles on it. So hope you guys liked it. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.